So here I am today with my visitor Jayne Lawton, my very good friend, who has come all the way to Somerset from the North Country. From where do you live? Just outside Manchester?
Just outside Manchester, yeah. So G-Cross, so sort of in between Kinderscout, Derbyshire, Cheshire border.
All right, that's a long drive. So I'm so grateful for you coming to the Steed Hub, and it's because we're working on some really exciting ideas which we're going to talk about. But let's just remember back, how long have we known each other? About 18 years?
18 years.
18 years. Now Jayne is an inventor and an innovator, an award-winning inventor and innovator, who has worked on projects that I admire so much over the years, since we met at a women's conference 18 years ago, as you do, and became friends. And I visited some of the projects that you've done in Manchester, which are just mind-blowing. But it all started off, well, I don't think it all started off, but of course your big one was Growbox. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Growbox did and what it was?
So,
Actually, I've got some here, but I haven't got them in my hand, so people will have to imagine what they are.
Yeah, so Growbox was just a very simple idea, really. So I was planting in the garden one day, and I turned round and I just had tons of plastic waste behind me, and I thought, this can't be a thing. And there must be a better way to use products. So eventually I thought, well, why can't we plant the products that we actually use in the garden? We have no waste. And I googled for inventions and patents, and there was no biodegradable planting products at that time. So I thought, well, I'll write a patent. And of course I didn't have any money. So I thought, how do you write a patent easily and quickly?
I wouldn't know even how to write a patent.
And luckily I found the most wonderful workshop at Manchester Library, where you could go as women, as a women's group, and there was patent advisors that gave the time for free. And I went to see this wonderful lady there, and she said, do you know what, that's a really good idea. She said, I can give you 20 minutes free time. We'll start writing the patent together, file it, because if you get a priority date you file it, and then we can register it, the idea. So from then I then looked at what products I could make. So I started testing the idea with cardboard. We put seeds and bulbs in cardboard, and then I was working at Manchester University, and we identified that when you plant board or any cardboard within the ground, it increases soil fertility, and it makes plants grow better, stronger, with higher nutrients, and also protects them from pests and diseases. So we created grow boxes that were full of seeds and bulbs, vegetable, herbs, flowers, wildflowers, and we sold them into retail, charity and gift markets.
I remember you had them in all the supermarkets, and you used to get some of the packaging designed by school children, local school children who would do the drawings. I mean, on the Power of Seven we were talking about which is the archetype, and it is so clear which is the archetype that you are, which is you're the seed sower. Yeah. You're the ideas person, you're the creative, you design. That's what an inventor is. You're a seed sower, it's brilliant. But in your case, you're actually working with seeds, which I love. Yeah. So from Growbox, which you were very successful for a number of years, as I said. I remember they were in most of the supermarkets and all the big stores. You then eventually sold the business because it's hard running a business as a woman on your own, and the business grows. It gets harder, not easier. Yeah. So it was how long did you have Growbox?
14 years.
Oh, it's a long time, and I remember seeing you a lot during that period. Yeah. But at the same time as you had Growbox, you were also creating other amazing community events, which I wanted to talk about, because I visited some of them. One of them was when you worked with the homeless in the centre of Manchester, and you found that cemented concrete space, which has now got a skyscraper on it. Yeah. And I'm going to get you to tell the story, but when you dug it up and became a community garden, which must be one of the first community gardens ever anywhere, because that was a long time ago. I remember visiting it. So tell us about the garden.
Yeah, so over 10 years ago, we had some serious food poverty in Manchester. And we had a lot of
homeless people.
A lot of homeless people that were coming in,
and still have actually.
And still have, and a lot of refugees as well. So we created Freedom Food Gardens. So one thing I could do through Growbox was have the access to really good seeds, vegetables, trees, plants. And we found an area of land in Ancoats, and we basically dug it all over, and we created a Freedom Food Garden. So we had a massive orchard, that had fruit, apples, trees, plum
But there was. I love the story that you told me about how you got it was all cemented.
Cemented,
and
yeah.
you actually managed to get someone, a digger, to dig it up.
Yeah, yeah. So we had hands. Everybody came and volunteered, and they all had a little square. Because one thing they might not have had any money, and they didn't have a home, but they had time. So with the time, they were then able to come and dig out these massive lumps of concrete, and horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. And then we managed to grind them down, and then each of those areas we then planted up, and it was in a part of Mancoats that was classed as Little Italy. So when we dug under and we removed the concrete, we then had the old sort of basements of the houses as well under there, the old little. So they were brilliant. So what we did was we kept the site very true to its history and used the bricks as the walling around. So all the houses were used.
Noises.
So and then literally the garden was open for years and years and years, and people and school children came and collected their vegetable, herbs, flowers.
It was wonderful, and the homeowners could actually sell off the surplus and have an income. They could use the vegetables, eat the vegetables.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. It was beautiful. You had chairs so people could come and just be quiet and surrounded by nature in the middle of the city, and then eventually the land got sold off to a developer as these things happen. But you also you were responsible, we were talking about it last night, for the wildflower meadows around the council estates in Liverpool that you did, which is brilliant. And the other projects that you worked on, you had so many projects, you've always been just creating new ideas, planting those seeds. That was when you started the grow shops in the housing estate areas, the poor areas around Manchester. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to work with Manchester College, and as they're working on their sustainability plan. And they worked at the time at Style Women's Prison.
Which is where Seed has also worked at Style Women's Prison,
Yeah, so within Style Women's Prison we had, there was a barista, there was a garden that then sold products to the community. But also it's really important that the women that were leaving prison, that they actually had some kind of positive future, because one of the issues was the reoffending and them coming back to prison. So the local authority and the housing association that we were very friendly with at that time, the partnership, they gave us they gave us shops for free. And then one thing that they had was that they had people who could fit out these shops to have them as a vegetable shop, they could have them as a hairdressers, and they could have them as a coffee shop, which are all the three things that were within the Style Prison that they were all trained on, and that they ran the courses through Manchester College. So when they left prison, these shops were all in precincts that had really high crime and drugs. However, when they were in there and they were actually running the vegetable shop that was the veg from the Style Prison in there, the coffee shop that was the cafe from the Brissa, and it also the hairdressing and the beauty salon that they got skills from, because they knew everybody in that estate and they knew the young people, they could go out and say, "Oi, I know your mum, don't be selling those drugs here." And the whole area sort of self-managed itself.
And you were teaching the teenagers as well, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
There was skills on how to do a shop window, how to do stock, how to do retail management, really.
Yeah, so they got their qualifications through, as well through working actively within the businesses, and also as well the apprenticeships.
Amazing. So okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, so like you say, and those shops run really, really well and have continued to run really well.
And they're still continuing now, which is brilliant. So I'm hoping that we're going to get involved in opening some grow shops in the southwest as well, a little later in the year, for teenagers here that are not necessarily coming out of prison, but have certainly fallen out of the system and kind of looking for their future. So we're going to help them with that, which is very exciting. So we've got back in touch together because it is time to do some magic. We've done some magic together over the years, and I've certainly observed the incredible projects you've done. And Seed, I'm the worst gardener in the world as opposed to you who is such an expert. Seed, however, using the metaphor of planting seeds, of gardening as creating our fuller lives and as women's led. And the seeds that you've planted over the years, and now you're a seed inspector, and now you go around working with farmers all over the country, making sure that the seeds are of the highest quality and organic, and giving them their certification and so on. It's time we brought our seed network of women and the actual seeds that you work with, in a new project. So we could talk a little bit about some of the things we've been getting very excited about today. So explain about the sheep.
Yeah.
The sheep
shoddy.
Sheep shoddy. Sorry, sheep shoddy.
So one of the big areas that I think we all want to do is in our level of our impact is just make lives better for everybody and give equality, but also be really focused on the things we do really well here in the UK, and to support all our local growers and farmers. So one of the big byproducts that go into landfill, and one of the big waste products that is a real concern for farmers, is sheep shoddy.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the outer part of a sheep's coat before that they can't use. So it's usually just dumped into a corner of a field and just left, really. But that product itself is really, really smart, and it can really benefit us in so many ways. And it can benefit us for growing in our gardens. So we can use the sheep shoddy, for example. We were talking, weren't we? We're going to, with our research, there isn't many companies that are doing anything with sheep shoddy.
Yeah, and British wool generally, which needs a lot of help, because the farmers, as we said, are just throwing away the fleeces and the sheep shoddy and anything to do. There is a huge wastage, and of course British wool is a very special wool. It's a lot harsher than some of the wools that come from other places in the world. So how can we turn it into something which will really, really help people in this country and have a purpose for the sheep excess? So you're saying that sheep shoddy has all the nutrition that's needed to really grow wonderful quality vegetables and flowers. So explain about the sheep shoddy balls we were talking about.
So what we would really like to do, so it's all about accessibility and easy. So what we can do is we can put seeds in the centre of the sheep shoddy, and we can roll it
organic wildflower seeds.
Organic wildflower seeds that will benefit the butterflies, the bees, the ecosystems, the environment. And we can create seed balls that are great little sheep shoddy balls, and when they're thrown into the garden, they hold a lot of water, which is a natural resource. They've also got a lot of nutrients, which will allow the plants to actually grow stronger. But also they keep the seed warm, so they germinate quicker. So you've got all these benefits in the garden that can actually give you a really high quality plant, vegetable or herb. So we'll be creating little seed bombs, but also it's a opportunity for you to actually plant, or even if you're going out and you're going for a walk and you want to create a wildflower walk or a wildflower line, you could throw these little sheep shoddy balls around, and the whole area will grow into these beautiful flowers, and it will just be wherever you go, you've left this beautiful trail.
So that's one of the things we're going to develop, sheep shoddy balls, which are going to be seed balls, basically. And then we were talking about possibilities of paper made from sheep shoddy. Yes. So we're looking at some of the people we know, some of our friends in the paper business who we will be contacting, how we can turn the sheep shoddy with seeds in it into paper that can be used for packaging, or it can be used just to plant, and again will be very nutritious. So that's exciting as well. Yeah. And the whole idea of taking waste landfill and turning it into really lovely products is something we've been talking about for months now, which incorporates seeds into them. So explain a bit about your ideas with that.
So obviously, as we know, Britain's getting smaller and smaller, and we're getting more and more waste, and we can't just keep sort of dumping it in the ground, because it's not. So we do really need to start thinking about how do we look at products, what's its second life, third life. So for us, if we can help farmers, support them by taking products that's wasteful, but also through growing through new products, creating. Obviously trees at the moment are a really precious resource for us, and we don't want to keep using wood as a paper resource. So if we can use something that is a natural waste, like sheep shoddy, and we can actually make it into paper, we can make it into board, make it into packaging. When you're finished with it, you can plant it, you can grow it, you can create a garden, you can give it to friends, and then then when it's growing, it's then absorbing carbon dioxide, it's giving out more oxygen, it's improving air quality,
it's carbon neutral,
and then also it's absorbing so much pollution that is becoming such an issue for us, especially if you live in a town and a city, and you want to, for example, have window boxes, window gardens, and you're wanting to, you can plant, you know, your paper that you might have received your package with or your letters with, and then grow your wildflowers, your vegetables, your herbs, and actually then within that city you'll see your butterflies coming in, your bees coming in, you know, which would normally be a sterile environment. So hopefully it will just increase the whole sort of biodiversity. Beautiful. And give just a beautiful way to live.
And as Seed, because we have obviously a shop and an online shop and a fantastic network of visionary women, we're going to create these products together, which will have a give back aspect to them, which will be seeds being given for community gardens and for communities that need and should be growing their own vegetables, whether it's here or in other countries. And we will be going to our seed network and getting them involved in distribution. So watch your space. So I'm so excited about the work we're going to be doing together. I know it's going to happen, and we're starting off by our Power of 7 affirmations for each one of our archetypes, which are going to go into a range of greeting cards that we're going to launch really soon. So you do your affirmation and then you bury it in the garden, and it grows from the seeds that are in it into something really special. So I am so looking forward to the work we're going to do. The world really needs us. You are a genius. You are the seed seller. And it's such wonderful opportunities for us to work together with the team here. So thank you, Jayne, so much. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Lynne. I've got to say, you are my inspiration. You are absolutely wonderful. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless.